understand what Muslims are saying here and how devastating this is for their religion. Muslims claim that the Torah was given by Allah, right? The Torah was originally revealed by Allah. They believe that the Zabur, the Psalms of David, were originally revealed by Allah. They believe the Injil of Jesus was originally revealed by Allah. Okay? It mentions other things as well. But we have to believe, if Muslims are right, we have to believe that all of those were corrupted. That's the premise of your question, right? Notice what this tells you about the character of Allah and whether or not he's trustworthy. Here's what Muslims are saying. Allah gave the Torah and his word was corrupted. Allah gave the Psalms of David and they were corrupted. Allah gave the Injil and it was corrupted. So what is this deity's track record? What is his track record? His track record is an abysmal failure. He has a 0 success rate. Okay? The illustration I like to use here is, imagine you needed a surgery performed to save your life, and you wanted to make sure that the doctor that was going to handle your surgery was competent, qualified, and so forth. So you're looking over his past record, and you notice on his record that every single operation that he's engaged in was a colossal failure. Every single time the patient was lost on the operating table because of this person's negligence. He failed to properly conduct the matter and see it to a proper conclusion. Okay, every single case. Would you want this person doing heart surgery on you or some other matter of life or death? Would you want this person handling your situation, or would you be looking for somebody who has a better track record? See, what Muslims have done here unwittingly is shot themselves in the foot. They've sawed off the branch they're sitting on. They are giving you all the reason that you need in order to reject their claims. You're telling me this is your God. Your God has this track record. He's failed every single time he's given mankind a word. Why now should I trust the Quran? Well, what Muslims will sometimes say here is, well, Allah intended for this to be his last and greatest revelation. He didn't want these other revelations to be competitors, right? Well, 100 problems here. One problem is, imagine going back to the surgeon, imagine a surgeon saying, yeah, well, I failed in all those prior surgeries because I wanted your case to really stand out, right? Would you trust that being, right? You still have this problem of this being's trustworthiness. Either the person really couldn't do the surgery that he was hired to do, he didn't have the competence, or he was malevolent. He didn't have the goodwill to do the surgery the way he should have. I mean, none of this speaks good things about the character of such a being. So Muslims are on the hook here. They can't just get off of this in these flippant ways that they think they can. But there's also this problem. What's the point of Allah giving prior revelations that allegedly predict Muhammad and point to the coming of Muhammad? Right? The Quran itself says these scriptures predicted the coming of Muhammad so that people could recognize him. The Quran even rebukes people for not believing in him when he came, even though they had the previous scriptures. What's the point of Allah giving these previous revelations so people could recognize him when he comes? But before he ever gets on the scene, those scriptures were corrupted. How could they then be expected to recognize Muhammad? Right? This is like Allah, fumbling the ball on the way to the field goal. Right, the end zone. What's the point of that? What's the point of this revelation pointing to this particular end that would itself become corrupted before the goal was ever reached? It makes absolutely no sense. A final problem that could be mentioned is that the Quran itself does not teach that the Bible was corrupted. Muslims try by hook or by crook to prove this, but the Quran stands stridently against them. One of my favorite texts to use in this regard is Surah 1094, where Allah is addressing Muhammad, and he says, if you are in doubt about our revelations, ask those who have been reading the scriptures from before you. So Allah even tells Muhammad to go to the people of the book and ask them if his revelations comport with what we have in our books. If that's going to be a bona fide test, well, then we have to have the scriptures in order for us to be able to answer that query of Muhammad when he comes to us, or the people back then. And in principle, it means that Muslims should be doing the same thing today. If their prophet was required to go and ask Jews and Christians, all the more are his followers today under obligation to ask Jews and Christians if what Muhammad gave out in his revelations are true.